What's up, everyone? Welcome to Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast show for the Boss Rush Network. It's your man, LaRon Dawkins here, and I'm back in the house tonight with my good friends, Corey Derrick and Stephanie Klimov. Hey, how you guys doing?
I'm great. How are you, LaRon?
You know what? We're going to go straight to Stephanie because I don't want to answer that question just yet.
I'm doing all right. I'm awake and happy to be here.
Good. So what's the happening thing that's going on around y'all's way right now?
What's the happening thing?
Yeah, notice I'm completely avoiding it and answering how my day's going.
Yeah,
Aww.
stop asking me how mine's going. Jerk.
It's Wednesday. Welcome back.
We've had some difficulties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm struggling.
Hmm.
This week is like a brand new plague. It feels like.
Man, it's just. Yeah. It's been. I feel broken.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah. I was gonna wait until we had something nicer to talk about, but I guess since I already said
No, we'll
it.
start here, and we can always end with something light.
Oh my gosh. So I've just been really like we come on these podcasts and we like turn ourselves on, not sexually, but we have to have the personality. Like, we're trying to entertain people, we're trying to distract, be a part of people's lives for 60 to 90 minutes depending on what show we're doing. And it's been really hard the last, I would say, probably like 3 months at least.
That's okay. I think, we can't always have light stuff all the time on After Dark, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people appreciate us going into some of the darker stuff, because I'm sure they can relate in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like
it's all good.
I try to convince myself that I'm not allowed to feel a certain way because of there's a lot worse situations for people, right? Like, I don't know, I have a great job, great wife and kids and
Well, it's good you acknowledge that,
house.
but remember, everything can always be worse. So like I don't really like it when people try to put other people down for, I don't know. Help me out, Laron. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
get it. You don't want to be a whiny baby, but you're not. Like, you're allowed to. Yeah.
This is the space for it. I mean, I can't say it any differently. That this is the space for it.
Yeah, I just I'm just
What's happening?
I was so it kind of, I don't even know how to say this or where to go. I just I've been like really putting a lot of pressure on myself to keep stuff going, and it got really bad last night. Ed and I were recording content for the week. I mean, this will come out after my vacation, but I'm going on vacation next week. And so I've been trying to get a lot of content out and recorded before I go, just so people have stuff to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been kind of like down and frustrated for a while, I think. And I mean, last night was just one occurrence out of many, honestly, that I just don't really talk about. But like, we lost the episode last night, long story short. And I just got really pissed off and angry and upset to the point where, like, while I'm editing shows and stuff, Ed and I usually talk about stuff for like here's like the next couple expansion passes. Here's, kind of what we want to talk about. Do we have like an interview coming up, or do we, because Ed helps Celeste out with interviews, or I know there's a Talk the Walk recording coming up, and
Yep.
we've been talking about like not doing standard definition or folding parts of it into a series of shows so that it's not putting pressure on everybody to try to find time to record, or I actually kind of had the thought of just canceling it outright, but we have nothing to replace it with in terms of Patreon offerings, and maybe that's something I just need to kind of tell our patrons is like, hey, we just can't keep up with the amount of content, and if you stay, we really appreciate it, but if you don't because you're getting one less show a week for what you're paying for, then we understand. But last night I started off really angry, and then I got really sad, and I kind of just sat in the middle of our living room, like kind of like crying to myself, like, what am I doing? What are we doing? Like, and at that point I couldn't fall asleep, so I started listening to a podcast that I used to listen to when I was like kind of upset, and it kind of got me through some things. But and then I was talking to Celeste today actually, and we kind of had a pretty deep conversation about all this stuff, and I'm not going to talk about all of it, but she asked me if I was all right, and I said 100% honest, no. I'm not good, like mentally I'm just spent, physically I'm not where I want to be, emotionally it's just kind of like, she was like, do you need anything? I'm like, and I just said, how you feel like you hit this point where you're like either so sad or angry or frustrated to the point where you just kind of like feel numb to all of it, and you just kind of like don't think about it and you just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And you hit a wall, and then like the numbness starts to go away, and then you just feel it even more, and then you just kind of like feel all the emotions at once, and then you're about to hit a second wall, and it's like you're at a point where like the wall is just not going to hold you back from anything, and it's kind of becomes like a scary place,
Of course, yeah. Our bodies are kind of doing its best to, I don't know, protect us, right, from the hurt. And I think that's where the initial numbness comes from. And then kind of like an overtired child, all of a sudden you kind of get almost the reverse effect where everything just gets like even more hyperactive or intense or something. So
Yeah.
it's normal to feel that way, but it sucks. It really
Yeah.
sucks a lot.
Yeah. It I haven't felt great the last, I mean, I would say the last few weeks, but honestly, it's probably been more like the last few months. To the point where like, not that I'm going to or that I would, but like quitting has like been on my mind a lot lately.
Mhm.
And it's and I've heard some words from people within outside and within Boss Rush, like, oh, this is easy, oh, you should be able to do this, this, and I'm not going to name any names because I know people I don't want to like ruin any friendships or burn any bridges or anything, but like, some of these things, like, it might be easy to one person but it's not to another.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people see stuff like, oh, you just talk about video games, which is a fun, light, easy thing,
Hmm.
but they don't understand like it's actually very time consuming. Might be easy topic wise, or like obviously compared to like other like occupations and stuff like that, but you have to make sure all the tech goes through. After you record, you have to edit and you post and you manage social media, and then you have stuff like last night where the entire fucking episode like just is gone. And so those people are just unfortunate. They just don't understand that there are a lot of guts behind the easiness of it all. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, and
And
there's also a good possibility that all they do is maintain one channel,
Exactly.
and not just like a whole entire block of content and stuff like that. Like people don't get it. I feel like I'm starting to get stretched out myself because like I'm doing the stuff for my channel, and like I'm trying to step it up because like I don't know, like something kind of clicked, and it's like, you know what? I love my job, but you know what? I don't want my job to. I don't want my current job to be my current like form of employment. I would
Yeah.
in a perfect world, I'd love to do this part time, even though like I'm so into tech and stuff like that. I don't think I'll ever be part time unless I win the lottery, of course, like we talked about last week.
yeah,
Which by the way, that person wound up getting a stupid amount of money,
Mm.
but they
yeah,
haven't claimed their ticket yet. But not to make light of the topic though. That you rolled us off with. I I figured out today that I definitely have anxiety right now when it comes to my phone. Like there's too much stuff going on as far as like notifications, all these chat strings I'm in, all this
Mm.
stuff.
hmm,
Like I've got my mother's like diabetes monitor like thing. Like
Oh,
the thing drives me nuts. Like the phone fucking drives me nuts and stuff like that. It's one of those things, and like I need people to understand, if I don't take the time to answer you right now, that does not mean like I don't acknowledge or whatever. But also, I don't know, like in this day and age now, everybody's so plugged in that like it's almost like people have attention deficit disorder, where it's like, well, not deficit disorder, but it's more like they're attention starved. Like
well, yeah,
no,
and it's we're getting that. What do you call it? Like alert fatigue or something fatigue.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I respect that, Laron. Like that's why when you don't reply as fast, like, and you because you've let us know that, so I'm like, all right, and I
yeah.
get it. Like,
I try my best, like and I don't want you guys to think, don't ever
no,
like talk to me in the chat or whatnot. Like I do see the stuff. Like, well, depending on what's going on. Like if I'm elbow deep in something at work and stuff like that, of course I'm not gonna be able to like grab my phone and look at it. But like I know for sure like this phone like and the sad part is that like the phone is such an integral part of like my life, because like
mhm,
I I've said this plenty of times, like because of what we do, we're influencers now, which means like we have to have a level of plugged in, stuff like that. But like when you look at it for like it's your main form, this is one of my main tools for work. When I'm not at my desk, like with my proper stuff that can diagnose like machines and stuff for IT and stuff like that. This is one of the go-to tools I have for my job, stuff like that. And then on top of that, like it's always on, it's always persistent. Like I've got all these lines of communication, stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm getting to a point of high functioning anxiety, and I don't like it. And
that's
and
where I'm at.
I think back to how like when I was unemployed for nearly 3 years, and for an entire year I had no phone. Like God, I almost want to go back to that.
Yeah,
that's why. Like, I know it sounded like we were nagging a lot, Corey, but I'm hoping that a lot of the changes that you're implementing for you said September will help with that. Like, I think you mentioned that you might be kind of streamlining standard def to not release as frequently and to kind of roll them up. Um,
yeah,
I hope you go with that because I do think, I mean, that's definitely not going to cure everything, but it's definitely a step in the right direction because there is such thing as too much. And then you almost kind of like mentally, okay, this is going to be a really bad analogy, but it's the only thing I can lean on. When I was in pharmacy school, we had I forgot what class it was, a particular professor that focused on psychiatric disease and substance abuse. And we learned about various illicit substances and how they work because they are drugs and we need to learn about drugs. And the thing about cocaine is, over the years when people use cocaine on a regular basis and a lot, their neurons become so fried that kind of, it takes a higher amount of cocaine to get back to the high, which I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's not uncommon for most drugs. But another part of the permanent damage is that person can't really go back to their original baseline of what it is to be happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard about that too. Like actually.
yeah, so I'm not saying, hey, you're experiencing something like cocaine, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want you burning out on something that you really enjoy. And it's okay to sometimes feel stressed out about it because you are boss man. But at the same time, like, I don't want you to get so overstimulated by it to the point where maybe you can't even find joy even by the time you slow down, if that makes sense. I know that's me preaching to the choir because you need people to lean on to help. I feel like that's a big part of it. And I don't know how else we can help and stuff like that, but just my little
I mean,
soapbox.
I mean, it's not even like about that anymore, to be honest, because like I just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like if I was at a different part of my life, all the stuff that we do would make sense. And I feel like it's all been kind of backwards where like I started with like one or two shows, right? And then it grew into this big thing. And like, 5 years ago, I had time to do all this. And now I'm finding myself like barely making it at the 8:30 time where we record because like my kids are getting older, they're
Oh, I see.
awake, and then that kind of pushes recording to like 9 ish, maybe 8:59 ish, and then after we're done recording, I try to edit the shows right away so they can process overnight. I've gotten into this system where like we'll record, I'll edit after we're done recording, they'll process overnight, and then I'll wake up early before work and upload them. And then by the time they're done uploading, like I can kind of like work on it during lunch and like post the stuff during lunch, and then I'll have to prep for another show the next night. And like this is where I mean, this week is kind of like an anomaly, but this is the sixth show I've recorded this week because of us being off next week.
Wow.
Because I don't want, and it comes down to like I work so hard because I don't want to let other people down, and I want to be like, I I just feel like and again, this is like all all problems that I've brought onto myself too, and like they're all problems that I could easily just like I could hit this end button right now and like it would all be over. And then I wouldn't have to worry about it. But like, what I was telling, what I was talking to Celeste earlier about too was like, she was like, well, do you have any resentment towards anybody? I was like, no, it's the opposite. This is like, I think I've come to the realization the last couple weeks where like, so my one friend is getting married in a couple weeks, and he was the best man at my wedding, and he's like really the only kind of like quote unquote real life friend that I have, that I can actually like physically go see within a timely manner of driving. Um, but then, you know, I realized that like he lives like 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live now, just because like, whatever. And like we work opposite shifts, and uh I realized that I haven't seen him since my daughter was 1 and my daughter just turned 4.
Oh, wow.
And part of that was due to like the pandemic and everything, but like now that we're out of it, you know, it's like wow, my friend, the person I used to call my like absolute best friend, my real life friend, I haven't seen in all this time. And all of my friends are online, and I kind of came to the realization, like, I think the reason why there's so many shows and podcasts or whatever is because, like, I have so many friends that I want to talk to about stuff, and like part of me is kind of like, well, if this all ended, would you ever talk to any of these people again, you know? And so there's that factor. And like I just had like this really crazy like panic or anxiety attack last night, and like it's just like it kind of like almost broke me in a way, in a weird way. And you know, somebody I was when I was listening to a podcast last night, I don't remember if it was like it was either, I think it was the Bob Odenkirk episode of this podcast. It's called Inside of You by Michael Rosenbaum. If you don't know who he is, he played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and he's in a couple other movies that you might know him from. But he was interviewing Bob Odenkirk, and he said that like you could be the most famous person in the world, but if you're not having fun, you know, doing what you love, is it worth doing?
Yeah.
And if you like, you know, if somebody asks you if you're having fun and you say I don't know, well, the answer is probably no, because you would know, you know. And the term I don't know 95% of the time doesn't apply to the situation, you know, because you either know or you don't.
Right.
Let me ask you a question real quickly. How long have you been you know, running and managing Boss Rush?
Just Boss Rush, almost 3 years.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I forget. Boss Rush has gone through different iterations. How long have you been doing this?
I think I can tell you the exact day. Hold on. I posted my first video. Sorry. Like,
it's okay. While you're looking it up, the reason why I was asking questions because like what we're doing, like there's going to be a level of work that has to be put in. You know, like like some people are going to contribute, you know, like heavily, while some people don't contribute a lot, you know, and stuff like that. You know, like like basically like with like I said, like with me like wanting this to become like a major source of income and stuff like that, got treated like a job, and you know like but so you know I don't know. It's one of those weird things that you know like you gotta it's like you gotta bust your ass like to like get to the point where you love it, because like nobody immediately loves like any job. Like there's that high phase you get like right when you're in the middle of training and stuff, but then when they throw you out there and you know to the wolves and stuff, then it's like, oh, this shit ain't as fun as I thought it was, until it winds up either it becomes fun because like you get the hang of everything, and you're able to like, and you're like the goalie where you can catch every ball that's like lobbed at you, you know, like with perfect precision, you know. So did you find out how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, the very first podcast I ever posted was on July 23rd, 2015.
Okay, so 7 years now. Okay. And here's a question. Would you say it's gotten easier, or is it just as hard as when you started out?
I think you could go both ways on that.
Yeah. Okay. So it has its highs and its lows.
Well, like when I first started out, like this all started out with like 4 people, like 4 of us, and we would get in the same room and record. And I had like all this audio equipment, and you know, I have condenser mics downstairs with, you know, a real audio mixer, and it, like, you know, in one way it was easier to get, you know, because we would all like after work or whatever, we would just all go. We actually recorded a bunch of it in my parents' basement because it was bigger and there was more room, and we all it was closer to everybody, right? And so it was easier that way, but technically it was harder in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of technology, Laron, I figured out why OBS wasn't turning on my NDI sources. It turned off in my Skype settings for some reason.
Oh, gee. Okay, that makes sense then. OBS can detect it because Skype had basically shit the bed.
Yeah. And what made all this easier too is we had one person whose their only job was to film it and edit it too. And I don't think people realize, I mean, you realize, Laron, because you edit Crossroads, and you know how long it takes to edit something.
Oh yeah, which is why I definitely started trying to streamline everything. If anyone catches the most recent episode of Boss Rush podcast, that will be that one goes live 3 days after the premium, right?
A week.
Oh, a week after the premium. Okay, so anyone that catches the Boss Rush podcast that we just recorded prior to this taping of After Dark, there's stuff that I'm doing that's trying to streamline the process. So basically, today was the first day in a long time I didn't spend 4 hours in post, doing stuff.
Yeah.
The biggest time consumer I had was there were some technical hiccups, which by the time episode 91 of Crossroads gets recorded, it would be much better. But the longest thing I spent the time during the time is putting in the markers in the recording so I can have my pod clips, which I actually brought a pod clip back out last week, first one in months. But yeah, this process will eat you up sometimes. Oh my God. And if you're the only one that's doing it, which is why as early as possible, when I was you know what, I'm gonna learn how to do this shit so Corey doesn't have to edit Crossroads and shit, because I'm a partner of Boss Rush, so I feel like I should be doing the partnership part of the work there. It's my show, you allow, well, it's not so much that you allowed it, you pitched it to where hey, you can have it on your channels exclusively if you want and stuff like that. So why the hell would I have you unless I just don't know how to edit content, why would I have you doing it? And for a while you were doing it because I didn't know how to edit. But what? I started editing around episode 30. So that wasn't too long,
Yeah.
Whereas,
and we were doing less at that point too, also.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Boss Rush did have a big explosion of talent that show up and stuff like that, and it was awesome because we had, I want to say we had almost equal parts, people wanted to come on to do podcasting and people wanted to come on and do writing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely slanted now more towards we're not inheriting more writers than actual people who want to get in front of the camera and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. Most of the times, these shows do what they do, and they do pretty well and stuff like that. I do feel for you though, man, because because you and I we talk every day, and I know the work you put in, behind all this stuff and things like that. And sometimes I just want to wring a few necks because it's come on, can you guys pitch in 5% more,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, I know a lot of this is problems that I could easily change by just saying, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be on this anymore. But
but you're passionate about this still. So.
And also you like doing what you're into. You like doing it. I mean, there's a reason why you haven't let standard definition go. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
I know,
there's a reason why you left.
That's the reason why I'm thinking about letting it go, is because I know you don't mean it that way, but what you just said and how you just said it is you're aiming it towards me and not the group, and that just tells me it feels like a show that people show up to because it's there. And because a lot of people, when I first said, hey, we're gonna do standard definition like this now, everybody had ideas on what they wanted to do, and the whole idea was to get different groups of people in here to do different series.
Exactly.
And then after about a month or 2 months, like I again, not that like I don't mind doing it, but like I was on everything, except for the Mass Effect stuff.
Mhm.
And
Because Stoy and I are very resourceful.
yeah.
As a
I
matter
don't
of
know.
fact, as a matter of fact, send me the assets for the standard definition stuff. So like when we resume our recordings and stuff.
Well, I'm either tomorrow or Friday. I'm uploading the entirety of the Boss Rush asset folder and sharing it with you two, Ed and Celeste, along with the passwords to all of the content, like just in case, because I get really paranoid about all that stuff.
Mhm.
Like like I'm gonna worry about when I get eaten by a shark. Like if I'm dying, like am I gonna worry about it? Possibly, but I just I don't know.
It's
if
tiresome.
here's the thing too, like I think about this all the time, and it haunts me. It's haunted me for 3 years, right? And we talked about it a lot
At the last meeting we had, probably.
no, a couple months ago when my old friend Matt was on, right? We're like,
Oh yeah.
and Ed and I talk about it all the time. We're like, I was so devastated when that all ended, and then like this just kind of like started out of
the ashes of that
fear, and I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose friends. I don't want to lose this kind of whatever, right? I don't really know if I'm saying it right or not, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to lose this to the point where it was like, I didn't think anything through, right?
Uh-huh.
You're just so kind of like, it's almost like when you get hurt, like badly hurt, but you're running on adrenaline and you don't take the time to like think about things because you just want to go or do something, do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you finally settle down, 3 years later and realize that you did almost everything wrong except for make a ton of friends and find a lot of people who are just as passionate about this that you are, right? It just I wish I would have had the foresight to do it differently, but somehow keep the people that are here now, you know what I mean? Like, because like if like I always say, and again, this isn't a slight to like the writing team or people who write or anything. It's not meant to be that, and it might sound that way, but like if I was to do it all over again, I wouldn't have a website at all. No website, zero website, and not because like it's not worth having a website, but like it's just another thing to maintain and keep track of and post, and who's really going there to listen, who's really going there to watch this, right? If people want to watch it, they're going to YouTube. If people want to listen to it live, they're going to Twitch. If people want to listen to it audioly, they're going to Spotify or iTunes or whatever, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's like raining and storming outside. That's crazy.
We need rain so badly.
Yeah, we need more of it.
I can like hear it, and I'm in the middle of the house. It's insane. And like, would we have really like, was it smart to start the Boss Rush podcast as opposed to keeping Nintendo Power Block, right? And like, was it really smart to bring Arsenal X back and run 3 shows with 4 people at the time, right? Like what, like, and then what, like, was all these decisions smart? And like these decisions still like really
I'll just say
haunt
this.
me,
I'll just say this. Don't think that any of those decisions you just pointed out are bad because like because like
No, but like if we're trying to grow a business, you can't have 40 people working for you for free, right? You can't have like,
That's true.
one person making financial decisions on this side of the business while another person makes them on this side of the business, right? Like you just can't do that. And like that's something we're trying to figure out now, and
You're right.
it's tough, I kind of like if I wouldn't have had a team bigger than like 6 or 7 people at max, doing the podcasts and maintaining certain aspects, right? And now, I don't even know half of the writing team anymore. I've never even met them. And like, I was going to be at the meeting last night, but like I didn't get home from work until late because we had a late podcast recording. And then my kids like needed baths and didn't get out. Like my son didn't go to bed till like after 9 o'clock, and it just, it is what it is. But I it's just a lot. it's just a lot, and I don't know, maybe I'm just not the right person to do this type of thing. Imposter syndrome is definitely something that's my best friend.
We definitely are hard on yourself, and you seem like a person that, when I say is hard to let go of things, I'm not saying that necessarily as a criticism. I observe this type of behavior in a lot of leaders,
Mhm.
or people with leadership roles.
Yeah.
Something to.
And like certain things, I think it's harder to let go because like now because we have certain, at least for the month of August now, we have certain financial obligations to people who are patrons, like they've subscribed for the month expecting this content. And so, that's why I gave us until September to kind of figure it out, because I want to make sure that when they go to subscribe in September, that they know that the content is changing. And so like that's on my mind. Writing the handbook is on time. Making, switching the store. Switching the store is on my mind. I started a draft of the handbook. I have 3 sentences written.
It's all right. One step at a time. You shared that link already, right?
I don't think I did. I don't think
no
so.
rush. One step at a time.
I have to make like a business financial spreadsheet, so that's on my mind. There's just all this stuff that's on my mind, and I'm like, I just, and at the content meeting, that's why I said like that let's keep our monetary income simple at first, so it's easy to keep track of, and then once we learn how to do this aspect, then we can start adding things in here and there. And yeah, I don't know, I feel really like I don't even know how to describe how I feel. Like, not that I failed or anything, but like I just feel like I am hanging on the edge of a cliff by 2 fingers, and someone's going to step on them. And it's I just feel not great.
It's probably excellent timing that you're going on vacation next week.
I was literally thinking that.
I think you need to just be forced away from this for a little bit and just let your brain reset. Your brain's so hyperstimulated with all this stuff. It's like you're being backed into a corner.
Yeah. And I mean, I appreciate everybody who does things around here, and
no matter what you decide. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm mumbling and ranting now.
Oh, good, man. We're all ears. I was just
Yeah.
saying, worst case scenario, and you just press that button, be like, that's it. I mean, at least I know with Ed, with you, Laron, I know with me, we'll definitely still be friends. We'll just find a different means to get together and chat.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. But I don't know. I feel like it's way too early to think about that.
No, I know, but I was just thinking like maybe there's something I could add that would at least curb the edge of the
Right.
worst case scenario. Because I don't know, I'm not in Corey's mind, but I know sometimes I go there. I always do the worst case scenario thing, and it's not always healthy.
Oh yeah, no, worst case scenario is always on my mind.
Oh, there you go. So,
Like I
mm.
already plan to get stung by a jellyfish, get eaten by a shark, and get food poisoning on my vacation.
No.
Hey, the food poisoning thing is not nice. I just recovered from food poisoning on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, from last Thursday.
You know, and I just like I have personal goals for when like some of this stuff changes. Like I don't ever want to be recording more than 3 nights a week.
Yeah, it's a good
You know,
goal. Very
That's
good
a
goal.
very good goal.
and if that means, missing a Boss Rush podcast one day or a POW block one day, then I'm going to. I have to. It's I mean, like I said, I've this is the 5th show I've recorded, and I have to record 2 tomorrow and 2 on Friday.
Shoot.
And that's like I don't want to have to like I keep saying every week I'm like, okay, this week I'm not doing this week, and then somehow I always end up like doing that, and I don't know how it happens.
Well, like you know how like we try to record like a Disney standard def once a month and Marvel once a month because we're changing kind of the frequency. Maybe we can do every other month with recording those. So, again, like cut down on the amount of times you're on the pod recording a podcast. I don't know, just throwing it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we're doing with Marvel right now because it looks like weekends are kind of out of the question at the moment. And Tuesday nights are out for LaRon, Mondays are out for me, Wednesdays are out for all of us.
All of us.
So I don't know what's happening with that right now, but I definitely want to do the Disney ones when we can. I want to do the Nintendo stuff that we've been doing is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Lamont and I are doing the Ninja Turtles. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that's pretty easy though, because there's only 6 of them and we're recording 2 at a time also for that. So I don't know. I just I gotta limit something because I, as a person and as a as a life form. Oh my god, my cat is like dying somewhere. Do you hear that?
No.
Oh. I don't know. She's old. That's fine.
Oh.
But I feel myself dragging. See that? I mean, like, see this? This is my 3rd one today.
Whoa. Okay.
Because I only slept for 3 hours last night. I got up early to finish some things. Then I went to work. I stayed late at work, and now we're here, right? And
You're running on fumes, man.
Yeah. Man.
yeah, and it's every day though, and that's why like mentally I'm spent. Physically, I'm definitely just, I don't know. I wanted to lose weight this year, and somehow I've gained like 15 pounds this year. My knee is broken still.
Mm.
And I don't know. Again, like I am trying to put it into perspective, and like, God, my cousin has cancer. Jesus Christ. Like I couldn't even imagine that. Like that's a way bigger problem than this will ever be, you know? And I just I don't know. Sometimes I like convince myself that I'm not allowed to feel certain ways, you know, and I know we kind of talked about that at the top, you know, and that we're all allowed to feel how we feel, but I have this weird block in my brain where like I have to convince myself I'm not allowed to feel this way because somebody else feels this way because of something that's way worse.
Mm.
But in a way that makes me feel worse, I think.
That's the thing. I don't think comparison's very fair. You're allowed to feel the way you feel. No one can tell you how to express that. And you gotta take care of number one. You can't take care of your family. You can't take care of your boss rush family without taking care of yourself first, man. That's easier said than done. I struggled with that for years. Actually, the only time I learned my lesson was when I burned myself out, like a full burnout. And that was really bad. That was really bad. Bad time of my life. So,
So, yeah, I'm sorry. I just kind of did that for 40 minutes. I'm sure that's riveting audio.
hey, we got you, man. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
man.
people are nodding hard. They're like, yes, this is it for XYZ, what I'm doing. It's
And
not all glitz and glamour, guys, behind the scenes.
No, like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and and that's why. Look at it this way. Look at it this way, Corey. Like Power Block just hit his 300 episode milestone, right?
yeah,
We're in what episode? We're in episode like we're 170 of like Boss Rush podcast, somewhere around there.
140. The one we just recorded is 146.
146. Okay. Not Arsenal. I'm sorry. Well, Arsenal X had how many episodes before it gave up the ghost?
178.
178. Okay. Tower Casuals.
104 tomorrow.
Okay. You remember you told me a statistic a while back that most podcasts don't even make it past episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a success story right there.
Yeah.
There's I mean that's a credit. Like like people hear our voices like everywhere, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, whether it's in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all this stuff. There's reach out there. Like people see our words in some format, on the bossrush.net website and things like that. Like we're not
Preach.
we're not where we want to be at, but so far it's a success. Like shit, like and yeah, like we yeah, in a perfect world, we want to be able to like pay our people equally, at least, or at least, like see some type of kickback of royalties and, and annuities and stuff coming from like the website and the stuff that we're doing and things like that. It takes time, and and you never know, but yeah, I I worry sometimes that, like we're doing that thing. I forget what it's called, where you're basically, oh God, I can't remember the term, but it's basically something where like you're doing something over and over again, trying to break the ceiling, and the ceiling should have been broken. Like don't think that it's like that.
Mm.
Don't think of it that way, because like there's still ways to go. We're still learning this stuff, and yeah, like some people learn stuff faster than others.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the shows that we're kind of like restructuring everything, like this show is Patreon's favorite. So,
After Dark, yeah,
yeah.
because we get on here and we get real, like, I I've always felt like, even though like we are gamers and stuff like that, gamers are our personas, and not so much our the core of who we are and stuff like that. So I understand why After Dark is like probably the most popular show on Patreon. Plus the fact that like we get to act a fool sometimes, like when we're not having heart to hearts, about stuff that goes on, or stuff that's happening behind the scenes, or stuff that's going on in our everyday lives and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I I just I just think that like for me I'm kind of stepping back a little bit and looking at what we offer and what we do and what I do in particular. And this week, I mean, I'll be on vacation, but I'm gonna like reassess and reset myself and come back and see what I can eliminate, and standard definitions on the chopping block for sure, as something that we could eliminate. Not,
Or at least cut down, make efficient.
Yeah, it's our lowest listened to show across the board. Even on Patreon, I see people skipping it, because our analytics on Patreon are different than the regular show because we have to upload it to a different service than Anchor. So, we it's just, I mean, we have last month we had under 5 listens on standard definition a couple times. Like,
wow.
Just, yeah. And for something that I thought was going to be like something really cool and unique and different, it just didn't do what I wanted it to do, which is, also personally never had a show that, like, after, aside from just starting a show to begin with, like, I never had a show that performed that badly. And it's also like it's a bad feeling, like
just think of it like this. Like, if Boss Rush Network is is ABC network, like how many shows come and go on ABC?
Right.
Too many. Some shows don't even make it past 3 episodes aired and they're gone and stuff like that. So if you put in perspective like that, like, like this, yeah, like standard definition may wind up being a casualty by the time you come back from your vacation and stuff like that. But like, there's other shows out there, and I'm pretty sure another show will show up.
Mm-hmm. So here are our last, let's see, 7 or 8 episodes of standard definition. Rank Nintendo 64, 7 listens. Peter Pan, 9 listens. Spoof movies, this one that Ed did, 9 listens. Sega Genesis, 9 listens. Super Nintendo, 12 listens. Marvel's Avengers, 7 listens. Like, it just, and like, I don't know if we just didn't do it right, or if we should have taken a different approach, or we just, like, it is what it is, but
I think with a show like Standard Def, I think like and this is just me, like, I'm probably just spitting in the wind on this one, but I think with a show like Standard Definition, it may have benefited from a little bit of promotion, or like, like some type of, like, instigated hype.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I think with the new shows, like, we can't just, like, I'm gonna say this. I think with any new show we come out with, we can't just, like, go off the momentum of, like, the popularity of Pow Block, Crossroads, Boss Rush Podcast, Arsenal X, Tower Casuals and stuff like that. Shit, Hunters for Hire. Whenever I decided to bring that back up,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everything, like, when it comes to a new show, it's not like our anchor shows, like, there's gotta be, we probably need to just put a little bit of promotion, behind it and stuff like that. Or probably a better thing that we can do, and I know, Corey, you're probably gonna, like, reach through the internet and try and strangle me, next, like, we definitely did a good thing by starting to have like episodes in the bank or the pool, so we had a buffer. But I think what we should do is, the next time we want to give something like that a go, like, record seasons, like, and I'd say, shit, do like how fucking Netflix does it, like record it and put half the season out. Well, not half the season out, like, all at once, but you know what I mean? Like, record it, start releasing, like, let's say, okay, so Marvel. I'm going to use the MCU for a moment. The project that we're working on. That's 23 movies that we're going through at least.
Give or take, yeah.
Let's just say that like we should have recorded like I would say we should record it like phase 1 halfway into phase 2 and then start releasing those episodically, while we're recording the other ones, and then the cool thing about it is like we have all this B-roll footage that we can put to make advertisements and stuff like that. But that's just an idea. I'm not here. Don't think anything I'm saying right now is a criticism of like what you may have done right or wrong or anything like that. It's just this is an idea, and like I hate that I have all these ideas after the fact. That's the one thing I love to do. I like to strike when the coals are already cold.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing too, though, is like I like what you do with Crossroads sometimes, where you're like insert the trailers or gameplay footage into the show, and like I would totally love to do that, but it's hard enough editing 5, 6, 7 shows in a week and get them out with just the audio sounding correctly or the video not skipping.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that stuff out. Like it wasn't something that came natural, and it took a lot of hand wringing because like for like the longest amount of episodes I was doing it all in post, and then I finally sat down like, you know what, I'm gonna figure. I hate to, you know what was crazy about this? The stuff that I did in episode 90 at Crossroads that just happened this week on Tuesday. I got off of work at 5 o'clock and showtime was at 8 p.m. and I sat down from 5:15 to 7:45, like figuring that shit out. Like I didn't have dinner that night.
Wow.
Yeah, and
well, I had dinner that night, but I had dinner after I wrapped the show.
I would love to do that too, but like,
oh yeah, you have a family though. You have a whole different like set of variables.
Yeah, and so like by the time I get home and like we eat dinner and the kids need a bath and we clean up because they destroyed the house and read my daughter a book and give her, her 5 minutes of screen time or whatever, 10 minutes, whatever we decide, depending on what she did that day. Like, it's time to record.
Oh, and you know what? I don't think I tell you this enough, and I need to tell you this because like right now, as we're recording this episode, right, I'm watching the replay, like the final cut of last night's Crossroads episode, and dude, like I can't thank you enough for like all the assets and stuff that you provided me and stuff like that. Like it basically like that stuff right there was because I have no talent to do that stuff. I'm pretty sure if I sat down and learned it, it'd probably take me about 4 months to get it to where like the level you have. I'm just saying that, but that helped a lot getting me on the way. And then, I just built on top of that. Like, like when you watch my show, like you see those transitions and stuff, like, like a lot of the stuff is mimicking some of the stuff that you just put out there, and imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. So there you go, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the assets and stuff, that's like super. When we look good, it makes me feel better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I love like our current run of thumbnails. I like really love.
Mm-hmm.
The new Talk the Walk ones are pretty loud. It's that road sign yellow.
Oh, nice. I like that.
My bad. Just flash nipple. My bad.
Yeah. We're not streaming, so it's okay.
I guarantee you that's gonna get a few rewinds now.
That's fine. We need those views, Laron. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Get some ice for that.
Oh no. I already told you I already have like perma hard nipples because I used to have them pierced. It's like when they closed up the scar tissue, like filled in the gap. So now it's like they're like always hard.
I don't need to hear about your holy nipples, Laron.
They're not holy. They're not holy.
Yeah, sorry. I just sorry for all this. I had a like I don't even know if I know how bad I felt last night. Like it was dark. And I mean I didn't even tell my wife about it. like she has enough to worry about as it is with like the vacation coming up, and she's got to watch the kids all day, and my mom's coming over, which is something that could be hit or miss sometimes. And I I I don't tell her when things like that happen. I mean, sometimes once in a while I do, but like I don't tell her. It happens like once or twice a week sometimes. And it's also another reason why I go out to the living room to sleep sometimes, is because like I'm afraid it's gonna happen and I don't want to wake anybody up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thanks for letting me be angry and sad and frustrated in a 45-minute conversation
It's
just
the
now.
human experience.
Yeah.
All good.
I could tell you something funny now.
Yeah.
If you
Go
want.
for it.
My nephew was playing Switch and somehow he got into the store and bought a hentai game.
Oh my gosh. On purpose or like?
No, I think he did it. I think he didn't really know what he was doing, and he was just like scrolling around because I think he thought games were just available or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And the cover of the game isn't like, it wouldn't necessarily.
Wasn't obvious. Yeah.
No, it's not obvious. That's the thing, is that it's and so hold on, I gotta find the thing. It's just like it looks like a cheap generic JRPG cover where like it's just some anime girl just like whatever. Like it looks like a NIS America kind of cover art game.
Wow.
I can't even find it because I deleted it. I'm like, I don't I don't need people thinking I'm playing this stuff. Even though I did play it to see what it was, so I could talk about it on the show. I can't find it, but basically it was like a puzzle game, and the puzzles got progressively harder. But the as you like did the puzzles,
something else gets harder.
I mean, the description does say easily played with one hand.
Wow.
So where is this thing? I can't find it anywhere. This is embarrassing. More embarrassing than it actually being in my list of games that I've purchased. So yeah, it was like, it was like 6 puzzle pieces and you put it together. Oh, her hat falls off. Hee. And then then it was 8, and then like her shirt magically came off, but still had her, some lacy thing on. And then like as like it got all the way up to like 30 pieces or whatever, and then it's like it's just a still image of this naked anime girl, but then like the screen looks like it's wet after you get the last part, and then it turns over a new puzzle set of puzzles.
Wow.
It's the drawings aren't even that good. They're like not even appealing even to the horniest of people. So oh my gosh, why do I have so many Switch games? This is terrible. But when I find it, I will tell you.
Oh.
Anybody else want to have a lighter thing to talk about?
I don't.
Nah.
Oh. Thanks, Laron.
I mean, today's been a day for me. Like, the one thing I'll say, like right now, like my house is struggling, right now with the air conditioning, and I worked out. I got this morning like 6:30 for a 7 o'clock workout. Then immediately after that had enough time to hit the shower and had to attend a business meeting that happens every week on Wednesdays. And
every
then,
weekly.
Yeah, every weekly. Yeah. And then and then never saw the inside of my house till like 4 o'clock today. Like
super
never,
fun.
yeah, like I was out, it's fucking hot as hell. Then it was hot inside the house and all that stuff, and it was like, oh my god. Yeah. So and yeah, just that that alone will like ruin your mood already. You know, it's just like I don't know. I feel like the days are getting harder right now.
Yeah. I found the game, by the way.
What game?
The game I was just talking about. It's called Make Love, Not War.
All right.
Doesn't sound bad.
And it has a picture of like a blonde doctor lady on the front that's totally covered up. But at the bottom in big red letters it just says hentai and like a like a state, like when somebody stamps something, right? And it's like that generic kind of red font.
Yeah.
In the box. It's really funny.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Don't play porn, everybody. Watch it like normal people. Or read it if you're a weirdo. It's fine too.
I wonder if people still buy magazines.
I don't know. I see them at the gas station. And they're still in those plastic sleeves that are always open for some reason.
I remember within the last 7 years, because I remember I was with my ex-husband maybe like 5 years ago. Let's just make it up. We were going on a trip and I was super bored and I was just feeling like I like pushing buttons. So I'm like, let's get a Maxim magazine or Penthouse or something. Because they had those like blacked out section. I mean, who knows, maybe they're totally gone now. And I bought one and Demetri was very embarrassed.
Maxim's not terrible.
I forgot what I got. I don't think it was Maxim. I think it was like Penthouse or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why would you do that?
I'm reading it for the articles. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
Jessica here enjoys long walks on the beach and a nice baseball game.
It's like she had a hard upbringing and she was able to start her own business. She's a self-made woman.
Yeah. She enjoys a good hot dog at the ball game. Just like you and me.
Boy, oh boy.
That'd be a funny segment on this show, by the way, just finding like weird old porn magazines and reading the article, doing dramatic readings of the articles. Of the
well, where are we going to get our hands on those? And I'm not sure if I'd like to touch them either.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, but
the pages are all stuck together. And
you know,
it's gum, okay? Gosh, it was out in the woods like every other person in the 90s.
Yeah, I really don't want this is more of a hypothetical me thinking out loud, but for the longest time I always wondered where guys aimed when they were just doing this. Well, what if you're in your room in your parents' house as a teenager? Where are you going to aim it? And everyone says it's a sock, but is that really where it goes, guys?
Sock?
I have never done that. I have never done that. I don't know. I feel like I honestly feel like because of my first exposure to like anything sexual was definitely porn. So yeah, the idea of like shooting it in a sock or whatnot, that was out the door. Like just do it all over yourself, get up, clean up, and just go. I don't know. Like yeah, I'm one of those weirdos though. Like if it gets anywhere in the bed, I'm done. Like everything's the bed's getting stripped off. Everything, no.
God, just finish in the toilet or in the shower like a normal person.
How can you bend it to aim in the toilet?
Just get good at it. I don't know.
I'm sitting here thinking that what was that Zac Efron movie where like he was trying to piss with a boner, so like he basically like
40-year-old virgin.
Was it that one where he basically
he was walking and he had a boner and he peed?
Yeah, he basically like crawled his naked ass on top of the toilet.
So yeah, I thought like if you're in that mindset, how can you bend it downward to pee? I don't know. I don't have a penis. I wouldn't know. Corey's looking at me like I have fucking 10 heads.
I mean, I don't know. Just kind of squat and bend, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Squat and bend.
need to know more. Like, you know what? Consider this educating me for dealing with my son in a couple of years. I'm still terrified.
I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't tell her any of our trade secrets.
Look out for long showers.
Yeah.
If his door's closed and it's quiet, I guess.
Please knock. Please knock.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, the shower was always my landing spot, so
that seems like the safest.
It
Makes
seems
more
like
sense.
it seems like the safest place, but God, like, have you ever seen like semen when it comes in contact with water? Oh my God. Yeah, like it's basically like imagine having chewing gum where it's like been sitting out in the sun, and you're trying to like do something with it. Yeah, it gets that consistency.
Look, I just didn't want any cleanup, and that seemed like the best place to go.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the better places, but God, like if you get it on you when you're wet, ooh.
Don't step in it. What are you washing your feet in it? It's not like it's gonna take the calluses off your feet.
It might. All the enzymes and stuff is in it. Like it might.
I don't know.
Yeah, considering how much it hurts when it gets in your eye, I'm sure.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. I've never gotten it in my eyes. So.
Yeah, you don't want to experience.
Lucky.
You don't want to experience it. Have you ever had pink eye?
Yeah.
It hurts like pink eye.
Times 5.
Gross.
Times 5. That's how hard it hurts. That's how bad it hurts.
Gross. I don't know. Sorry, I can't share that experience with you guys.
It's okay. Some things are just better left to not.
Hey, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, I guess. Anyways, I don't know. When life gives you lemons. Yeah. Anything else? What else are we talking about?
You know what? Real quick, you should shout our patrons. Real quick.
Right, we do have that. I meant to do that at the beginning, and then I got dark.
Yeah. But this is the right show for it to be dark.
You can look. This is the after dark of after dark.
It went dark, and now we're after dark.
LaRon showed his nipples, so everybody got some happiness out of that, I guess.
Yeah. There was some flashitude going on.
You can support Boss Rush After Dark and the Boss Rush Network on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where at the $1 tier you can get early access to 4 separate shows, but also you can become a Patreon producer at the $5 level, which also gets early access. But what is a Patreon producer? It means you get your name shouted out on this here program, as well as others across the network. So without further ado, our Patreon producers for this episode are Celeste Roberts, Francisco Santillan, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, and my wife, Mama Dierig. I want to thank all of our Patreon producers. I want to thank all of our patrons. I want to thank all of our free listeners out there. You know who you are. Remember to leave us a 5-star rating and review, you freeloaders. If you're not going to pay us, you can definitely do that. I'm just kidding. I appreciate everybody that listens to everything we do here. Wouldn't do it without you. Yeah. Patreon. Assemble.
Patreons assemble. All
right.
Gotta say it with more vigor like that.
I know. If it was another Wednesday, maybe I would, but I just.
No, you're out of gas.
Yeah. Well, you know what? With that being said, it's time to wrap this show up. So, as always, we'd like to thank you all for taking the time to hang out with us, listen to our troubles, our sorrows, our woes, and all that stuff. Well, we promise to be more fun next time.
Look, you got 2 fun episodes out of Celeste. Okay.
They're gonna be in our comments like, bring that Celeste chick back. Like this is too much.
Look, I would have Celeste on everything we do if she had the time for it.
Oh
okay?
hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! Yeah. But anyway, thanks for tuning in to Boss Rush After Dark, the one, the only, the best, according to Patreon, the best show from the Boss Rush Network. Before we head out, we want to go ahead and let you know how you can get in contact and stay connected with us. Corey, go first.
You can find me at IamCoreyNHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on the Boss Rush Podcast, Nintendo Power Block, and various other things here on the Boss Rush Network.
Stephanie.
People can find me on the internets, on Twitter, Instagram at Klimov_author, and Wednesday nights on the Boss Rush podcast, and on and off other podcasts in the network.
All right. And as always, you can catch me on social media at Exodus803. And that's also my YouTube and Twitch handles, as well as my PlayStation Network and Steam ID. Don't forget, I am I'm the host of the Crossroads Video Games Podcast, partnered with Boss Rush Network, where you can find that show every Tuesday night live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Exodus803. And you know what? Before I head out, hey guys, Alex Jones got caught in a fucking lie today in fucking court, and he finally admitted that he was fucking like basically lying about all the Sandy Hook shit. He finally admitted under oath that it was not that it is not a hoax. Yeah. All right. So anyway, this has been Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast of the flagship show for our Boss Rush Network here. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show. Definitely come back and join us for our next installment of Boss Rush After Dark, where we'll be back with more topics that aren't completely content appropriate for our other shows, our other anchor shows, I should say. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. You only have one life to live.
And do it in the shower.
Do it in the shower. Don't get it in your eye.
Don't do it in the sock. Good night.
Oh, definitely. That's nasty. Good night,
Hot
y'all.
tubs.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
That is the number one worst place. No. Bye. We're out.
Trampolines.
That's just nasty.
That'll splatter everywhere like a Polak painting.
Oh, God.
Is that was it
Pollock.
Pollock? Pollock. Pollock.